Hi everybody. Hello. How's everybody doing this fine afternoon? The sun is shining here and I figured it was a good time to get in here and do some filming. Some of the videos that I've been doing, even if I wait until just dinner time, if this room isn't fully lit, I feel like I look very dark in the video and I'm terrible like adjusting things on my camera. So welcome. This is my August recap video. If you're new here, my name is Lori. I'm a reseller on Poshmark, eBay, and whatnot, and I share my adventures in thrifting here with you on my YouTube channel. I've been on YouTube, this January will be 4 years. I just celebrated 4 years selling on Poshmark. I really enjoy these recap videos. I've been doing them for about 6 months now. It's a really fun time for me to reflect on how things are going, look at some of my wins, some of the things that I didn't achieve, and just kind of start with a clean slate and look forward. This video format has kind of replaced my what sold videos. I still share sales with you on my ship and shop videos, which give you a little bit of both, but I kind of go over all of my numbers at the end of the month on my recap video. So I do plan on doing that. So I will share some of my numbers with you. I always try to think of what the theme might be for my recap videos. And I feel like there's usually like some overarching vibe for the month, things that I have on my mind. I had really thought that I was going to talk mostly in this video about all of the new things that are happening. I am 5 days into being an empty nester officially. We dropped off Rocco at the University of Maine on Friday, the 26th, and then my husband, being much smarter than me, planned a little trip to Acadia so that I wouldn't come home to an empty house that same day and just like lose it, which was very smart. And I've never been to Acadia National Park, and it was one of the most beautiful trips I have ever been on in my life. And I cannot believe that this national treasure is literally 5 hours from my home. And I've been to Yosemite and I've been to the Grand Canyon, but I had never been right here in my backyard. And I have to say that there were parts of the drive in Acadia that were the most breathtaking sights I have seen in such a long time. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Pacific Coast Highway from when we lived in California. It reminded me at times of the coast in São Miguel when we went to the Azores in Portugal. We hiked, we had beautiful lunch. It was like the perfect thing for us to do after dropping off our baby. Rocco's doing well. So far, so good. Knock on wood. Angie is all moved into her new apartment at Penn State. And as you know, earlier this month, we moved my son Anthony to his new apartment. He moved from Pittsburgh to Hoboken. So 3 big moves. We are all now living in 4 different states. We're here in Massachusetts, Rocco's in Maine, Angie's in PA, and Anthony is in New Jersey. But we are finally settled. And that was what was really weighing on me for the month of August, was just getting everybody settled and transitioning into this new life after having kids at home for 23 years. Definitely a few tears at times, but overall I'm feeling really good and I'm generally very excited to be able to really focus on my business and really get back to basics. So the title of this video, what are we holding on to? I admittedly have gotten away from the organizational part of my business. Ironically, since I started having assistants, I think I started to get lazy with my listings and with putting inventory away because I always knew that one of my assistants would be here, mainly Caitlin, who worked about 9 hours a week for me, which isn't a ton, but it was just enough for me to be like, oh, Caitlin's coming. I'm not going to process these. I'll let Caitlin photograph these items. Or I would find myself scrolling on Instagram and wasting time knowing that I had inventory that needed to be put away. So Caitlin went off to school on August 10th. Maddie has wrapped up her time with me as well. So I've kind of been solo since the second week in August. And it really made me look at myself again and reflect on how things are going with my business. A lot of stuff is going well. I'm very happy with how things are on YouTube. YouTube has become a big passion of mine, and I've been really consistent about doing my 2 videos a week. I had a little bit of a fun series in the month of July, the Viewer's Choice Challenge, which was fun. I've been making my trips to the bins and stuff. What I've really neglected is the organizational behind the scenes aspect of my business. It's always been my struggle. It's always been my Achilles heel, my organization, my inventory. I don't really have great systems in place. Fast forward, I recently did hire a new assistant. She happens to be one of my very dear friends who I worked with for several years at American Girl. When I, in my last video, talked about getting a virtual assistant, my friend Tina reached out to me, and I do want to take a second to thank everybody who reached out to me, who took time to send me beautiful emails and put their hat in the ring and ask about being a virtual assistant. I've decided to go with Tina, who is somebody I've known for a very long time, who can work both virtually and in person. And the reason that I decided to go this route was because I realized that I need a lot of help right here in my home. And I think that Tina is just the person to do that. I am very fly by the seat of my pants. Tina is super organized. I wing things a lot, and Tina is a planner, and I think that's going to be really great for my business and really great for me, and actually keep me on my toes a little bit. I've been joking with her saying, I'm nervous for you to come to my house because my space is a mess and I'm embarrassed and there are piles everywhere, and you're going to look at my inventory and you're going to freak out because it's so opposite of Tina. I've been forced to really look at myself and my own practices in anticipation of Tina coming. So what I've been doing every day is just listing more and getting pretty overwhelmed. I'm like a broken record when it comes to talking about my disorganization, so I don't want to like bore you with all that stuff. But what I did do is I went downstairs and I said, okay, let's put this inventory away finally. Let's do some listings. And I got about an hour into it and I was so frustrated because my bins were overflowing. I was having difficulty finding things. And I said, I actually have to sell some stuff before I can do this. So I decided in that moment that I was just going to do one of my 50% off sales. I use Posher VA, sends out offers to people, it shares my closet for me. I've been using Posher VA for over a year. It's a wonderful service. Can't imagine my business without it. Posher VA and Vendoo are like the perfect combination for me. What I haven't been utilizing recently is the feature that sends out bulk offers. So I was so frustrated with trying to get organized that I decided, what am I holding on to? I know for a fact that I have inventory that's been in these bins for 4 years, since I started on Poshmark in 2018. I decided that I was going to do one of my 50% off sales. Usually I do it for stuff that has been in my inventory for a year or more. Yesterday I decided I was going to do it for anything that had been in my inventory for 120 days or more, 50% off. I had plans with my friend Marguerite, Kim, and Tabitha. You've seen all three of them here on my channel, mostly Kim. Marguerite was the one that found me that insane Gunny Sacks dress in my last video that I posted. Tabitha did the pizzelle cookies with me on my other channel, Time with Tata. So 3 of my best friends, we were hanging out, and before I left, I'm like, just send these offers out. So I left, and as I was at their house, the offers were starting to get accepted, and more and more and more. And I've been struggling on Poshmark all summer. Finally, in the month of July, I did a little bit better than June, and I was determined for my August numbers to be even better. This sale resulted in some really crazy numbers. So as of filming this today, I'm at about hour 23, filming this around 3 p.m. on the last day of August. As of right now, the sale has generated $1,765 in sales. Yesterday, I sold 50 items for $1,349. That was an average selling price of $26.98. That is mostly 50% off offers. There are some exceptions, which I'll share with you. And then today, I've sold 17 items and I've done $416 in sales, giving me a total of $1,765. For the entire month of August, I'm at $4,542 in sales on Poshmark, which is significantly higher than last month, which was higher than the month before. I think this has been my best month since March. My average selling price from today's sales was $24.47. And I only share that with you because I've always put this focus on wanting a higher ASP, and I'm kind of letting it go a little bit. I still think my numbers fall somewhere between $30 and $40, my average selling price, and that will continue to be my target average selling price. But after having this sale, sale, I guess the point of me sharing that with you is that my numbers weren't much lower than that $30 to $35 average selling price, considering 90% of these sales were 50% off items. So I did have some items sell for full price during this 24 hours. I sold these Escada pants for $72. I sold this Tignanello, I can never pronounce this word, this beautiful handbag that I bought during my viewers challenge. I probably would not have picked this up, but I picked it up for the viewers challenge and it was a full price sale for $35. I also sold an Under Armour shirt for $25, and then I sold a bundle. One of the items in the bundle was part of the 50% off sale, but my buyer put 3 items in and she basically offered me a little less than 30% off. So about 65% was her offer for $68 on 3 items, which I accepted. So $200 of the $1,765 in the past 24 hours were unrelated to the sale. One other item that sold that I forgot to include, so that would be $285, not $200. This Millie Brook long sleeve stretch peplum top was listed for $100. And I think offers were sent out for 50% off with discounted shipping because I've had this for a while, but somebody new came in and offered me $85 for this blouse. I paid $6 for it. I've never found the brand Millie before, so I was really excited when I found this, and then it was new with tag. It was even more of a bonus. I think I paid $5 for it, so sold for $85. So that also came in within the past 24 hours. A couple just fun sales that I want to mention. I sold that Lamb by Gwen Stefani, the Rasta Tank mini dress. I had picked it up at a consignment store. It was on a $1 rack and I just thought it was beautiful, and I could tell that it was silk, and I thought the tag was really beautiful. And when I held it up in my video, a few people commented that it was Gwen Stefani's brand. And I know that Lamb is her brand. The letters were written vertically on the tag and I just didn't see it. They were kind of ornately written and I completely missed it. So a few of you reached out and said, that is worth a lot of money. That is Gwen Stefani's Lamb brand. And I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. So I took a screenshot of the picture, or I Google lensed it, and I found an image that somebody else had posted on their listing of Gwen Stefani wearing the dress. Anyway, it sold for $75. So thank you so much for those of you who let me know that that was Gwen Stefani's brand. I had it listed for $100 and I took a $75 offer. I also sold the Madewell Transport saddle bag that I had picked up at the Goodwill in Boston the day that it was raining, and I was with Angelina and Ashley and my friend Kim. It's priced at $14.99 and it sold for $99. That was a good sale. I also sold a J. Crew linen blend blazer for $90. I think that must have been a full price sale. Somebody had sent me an offer and I had countered, then somebody else came in and bought it full price. So this was one of those moments where I was negotiating with somebody else and I was struggling to get to a price that I felt comfortable with selling. I think $60 was my cutoff, and she was offering me like under 50%, possibly. Maybe she was around 50%, but I was so excited when somebody else came in and bought it for $90. That was great. I also sold the Taylor Swift graphic sweatshirt that I also bought the same day at that same Goodwill with the Madewell transport bag. That sold for $68. That sold pretty quickly. I had a pair of Eileen Fisher metallic slingbacks that sold for $80, and those had been around for a while. I think I had them listed for $100 and I took an $80 offer. I also sold this Anthropologie Akemi and Kin llama open cardigan coat sweater, which it was like a bolo and I didn't even know about it. Kim and I found this at the bins. I think Kim actually found it, and it wasn't until I looked very closely at the sweater that I realized that there were llamas on it. And then when I started researching it, I realized that it was a bolo sweater from Anthropologie. So that sold for $70. I think I had that listed for $100 as well. A fun sale on eBay. I did feature this in a ship and shop video, but I sold this vintage Jim Henson's Muppet Vision 3D animal plush for $75. Somebody bought it outright. I think I paid $3 or $4 at a thrift store that I don't go to very often, but it's also near Boston. It's just kind of in an odd place that I can't get to it very often. So for $75, that was a great surprise one day. Then I sold some Tory Burch flats for $60. and some Vince heels for $65. I tend to sell higher priced items over on eBay, and I actually just today sold a knit hat on Depop for $25. Poor Depop, like rest in peace. Since Whatnot, I've really neglected Depop. And I guess what I also discovered about myself, I think 3 platforms is my tipping point, because I'm finding it really difficult to try to also manage that as a 4th. It's kind of just there, but basically what I've been doing is basically taking items off of Depop as they sell. But since I've been listing more, I should just be cross-listing over there too. But I still try to be a little curated with my stuff over there. What are we holding on to? I'm asking this and saying we because I feel like somebody out there might feel the way that I feel. I was looking at some of the items that sold and I thought, my goodness, number one, why did I have that price so high to begin with? And number two, what am I holding on to? Why didn't I send out lower offers sooner? And it's so funny the way that this business works. I mean, some of the items that I have in my closet right now, I wouldn't even pick up anymore. So why am I holding on to a price that I created based on comps from 3 years ago? That same item is now 3 years older than it was when I bought it, and it was pre-owned to begin with back in 2018 or 29 when I purchased it. So what am I holding on to? I think that Whatnot has been a fantastic platform to really be in my face with this question, because it brings me great joy to sell things on Whatnot, even if I'm not making as much money as I would holding out on Poshmark and sharing this item 400,000 times over the course of 4 years, only to sell it for a modest price in the end. I do think that Whatnot has really helped me appreciate moving items faster, and it's really made me question what I'm holding on to, because the part that I love about my job is I love YouTube, so I love sharing my stories here with you. I love sourcing and exploring new brands, exploring new thrift stores, finding new items, coming home and researching them. I love all that stuff. And the part that I don't love as much is the back end stuff, the putting away the inventory and the measuring and the weighing of things if I need to do it. All the little detail stuff I'm not so great at. However, it's part of the business. So you can look at it in so many different ways, but I think for me personally, and I'm only speaking for myself, I've been thinking lately that maybe I just should go the route of taking more modest offers on certain things. Like I got a $550 offer on the gunny sacks dress that we bought. After less than 24 hours, I have it priced at $749, and I countered. That may have been kind of crazy to some people. I polled Instagram and it was pretty split whether I should take the $550 offer or if I should counter and wait. More people told me I should wait than take the offer. So there are always those items that I'm not going to take a lowball offer on. Not that $550 is a lowball offer. I'm not saying that you should take low offers on everything. I'm saying for me, I'm at a point in my career with reselling where I have a lot of balls in the air. I'm on multiple platforms. I'm very committed to YouTube. And I'm just at this point where part of what makes me happy is going out to new shops, doing my Thrift Across New England series and bringing you to new places, bringing you to the pit with me, bringing you to the bins and going shopping with my friend. Like that's all the stuff that makes me so happy. So why not take a little bit less on my items and then get back out there and do what makes me the happiest and be able to process things faster? These are just thoughts that have been swirling in my head. And as always, I feel like I always have to do this little disclaimer. I don't ever claim to be the person you should come to for reselling advice. I look at most of the reselling content that I consume like cafeteria style. You go down the line and you watch all the different resellers you watch, or you're on Instagram or YouTube or reading about reselling or however you get your reselling knowledge, and you take what is great for you, what works for your business, and you leave behind the stuff that doesn't work for you. Nowhere does it say that everybody's reselling business should look the same. So I don't think that I or anybody else should be super critical about how other people are running their business. Walmart does not run their business like Nordstrom, and Nordstrom does not run their business like Madewell. Everybody's different. We are all different with our business, so we do things differently. So if you see something that I'm doing and it excites you and you want to try it, that's awesome. And if you see something I'm doing and you're like, this bitch is crazy, then don't do what I'm doing. I get kind of annoyed with like the negativity that some people put out there, like, oh, I hate Whatnot, or I hate Poshmark, or this platform's terrible, or this strategy's awful, or who cares about liquidation? Who cares about any of it? You do what you do for your business. You do what makes you happy, and you go down cafeteria style and you take from other resellers and YouTubers and people who have opinions what works for you. We're all adults. You see what works for you. You try things. You're going to make mistakes, and then you go forward with your business and you do what works best for you. And I am rooting for all of you to do well. Speaking of cafeteria style and choosing things that you hear that work for you. This week I was watching Chris from Daily Refinement, his YouTube channel. He has an extremely different business model than I have, like worlds apart. He does huge volume compared to me. He has warehouses and employees and has a very different business strategy than I have. And I do things very different than him. But one of the things that he said that really resonated with me, and I wanted to share it with you, he talked about the importance of kind of doing something from start to finish with as few people as possible, was what I got from what he was saying. And he compared it to Subway. That visual really struck a chord with me. And he said, you know, when you're at Subway and you pick out your sandwich, you typically have one person who gets the bread that you want, cuts the bread, figures out the meat, the vegetables, the topping, the chips, the drink, like everything that you want. You have one person who starts it and goes down the line. I guess sometimes they might hand it off at the end and somebody else might like package it up and put it away for you. But his point was, the more people you have on that assembly line, the more chances there are for something to go wrong. That's what at least I took away from it. I thought about how my items got listed. I'll come home and I'll prep my items, and then Caitlin would come in and take photographs and measurements and put them in a draft for me, which worked to an extent. But if too much time went by and I went back to that draft, maybe she forgot to include the fabric content, or maybe she said that there was a flaw somewhere, but it didn't show up on the photo. Now that's been in my drafts for a couple weeks, and then I have to backtrack, find the item, pull it out, look at the fabric content, see where the flaw was, and update the listing, and then finally make it go live. The idea to me of starting a listing and seeing it all the way through to the point that I'm actually putting that item in my inventory the second it's done, all of a sudden it was like a light bulb to me after I watched Chris's video. I feel like that system would work better for me. So when Tina starts, when she's taking photographs, I think I'm going to have an inventory bin right there for her. After she photographs the items and does the draft, that item goes right into an inventory bin. Now, some of you watching may do this all the time, but it's just kind of a light switch went off for me when I thought of the process. And I would probably, me personally, for my business, I would probably be better off photographing, drafting, listing, doing everything, steaming, measuring, all the things that you do for 5 items, and actually get those 5 items 100% done and in my inventory, than photographing 20 items and leaving them on the rack and only getting 10 of them drafted, 5 of them listed, and 2 of them put away. And then I'm like backpedaling for the rest of them. Does that make sense? I'm not doing a great job explaining this, but it really resonated with me. And that was an example of something that I really appreciated, that I saw this from another reseller and I thought, this is such a great idea. I'm going to apply this to my business. I'm doing some quick editing and I realized that I forgot to say something, and see how dark it is. It's only been like an hour since I filmed. One of the other things that I saw on another channel besides Chris's, it was on someone who has content around minimalism, and I'm fascinated by minimalism because I am so not a minimalist, but I love to see how people live with less, and I like to be inspired by them. And I'm also interested in doing some content around slow fashion and around capsule wardrobes and stuff like that. So just kind of doing some research, I guess. But this one woman was talking about, don't put it down, put it away. And then I heard someone in the reselling community talk about it too. And that also struck a chord, the same idea. So instead of putting my items down after I photograph them and get them drafted, put them away. Kind of goes with so many things, even in the kitchen after dinner. Instead of taking your dish and putting it down in the sink, put it away in the dishwasher. This little line applies to so many things. Don't put it down, put it away. And I keep thinking that and how it applies to so many things in my life. So that was another thing that I picked up from somebody who's very different than me, but I really loved that little nugget. I'm in this phase right now where I'm an empty nester and I have more time than I've ever had in my life. I look at other YouTube creators who are in a completely different place than me, ones who are just starting their families, and how that's so much going to impact their business in a different way. They're going to have less time. I'm going to have more time. So I think that instead of being critical about what you hear from other YouTubers, really just know that everybody's kind of doing the best that they can. We'll go back to better lighting in the next part of this video. Let's go over some quick numbers. I talked already about what I made on Poshmark this month. On eBay this month, I have only sold 16 items, $790 in sales. My average selling price on eBay was $49 per item. Whatnot, I had a sale on August 4th with my daughter. That was $1,048. My next one was Live from the Pit, where I did my first live on location Whatnot show. That was $179. I think I sold 20 items that day. I had a show on August 11th, August 14th, and August 21st. So my total on Whatnot for my sales, not my profit, my total sales on Whatnot for the month of August were $3,494. So between $34.94 on Whatnot, $45.42 on Poshmark, and $790 on eBay, my total sales for the month of August were $8,826. Whatnot has really bumped up my total sales for the month. And if it weren't for the sale that I just ran on Poshmark, I would have actually had a better month on Whatnot than I did on Poshmark for sales. My profit margins are typically higher on Poshmark, but Poshmark fees are more expensive than Whatnot. So sometimes it kind of evens out. I would love to get that 8,826 to 10,000 a month, or whatever the number is. I really want to hit that $100,000 mark in total sales on the year. I haven't done it yet, and I think that with Whatnot, it's something that I can attain. If this continues into 2023, I'm hopeful that next year it will be my 5th year in business, and after 5 years, I'm hoping that I can do 100,000 in sales. That's strictly the reselling part of my business. YouTube is different and affiliate marketing is different. Any sponsorship money that I earn is all separate, but this is just the reselling half of my business. I have officially 13 days left until Tina starts, and literally every day I am waking up and I am sorting and I'm sending offers and I'm listing more. I'm doing all the things, all the back to basic things that I need to do in order to be ready for her to be here. I'm finally under 1,300 listings on Poshmark. I think I'm at like 1,298 because I sold so many items during this sale. But I want that number to keep dwindling. I also pulled a couple items from Poshmark to sell at my Whatnot sale tonight. I'm having a Disney sale. So I'm going to continue to pull items from my inventory as well as send aggressive offers on my inventory on Poshmark to get that to a more manageable place. This month I did improve my number of items that I listed. I'm up 35%. I'm just using the analytics from my Vendoo screen, which is super helpful. It shows me that I have listed 124 items. Last month I listed 92, so that's up 35%. This month on Poshmark I sold 141 items, which again, I've sold, what did I say, 68 or 69 items in the past 24 hours. So this sale really made a huge difference in my total numbers for the month of August. But in the month of July, I only sold 62 items on Poshmark. I more than doubled the amount of items that sold this month. And I'm also listing more. So there, for me, there's always a correlation between listing more and selling more. I'm not always consistent about how many items I list in a day or listing the same amount of items every day, but I just kind of look at the month as a whole and I see that my numbers were up, what did I say, 35%? More items listed in the month of August than the month of July. So that was good for me. So this was a very long-winded video. I have a lot on my mind. I'm feeling really good about how things are going. I really am a little bit under the gun to get ready for Tina, but I kind of need that fire under me to push me to get organized because it's something that I always put on the back burner. I'm limiting my shopping over the next 2 weeks. I'm allowing myself to do one bins trip with my girlfriend Kim, because if she has a day off and she can go to the bins, I rally because I love to go with her. Jay and I have a date planned close to the city, so I am planning on, hanging out with Jay and also going thrifting because it's near one of my favorite thrift stores. Those are the 2 times that I'm going to allow myself to thrift between now and the 13th. By thrifting less, I will be bringing less into the house and hopefully moving more out in the time that I'm spending home cleaning and getting the studio ready. Thank you once again for letting me ramble in my monthly ramble fest on my recap videos. I hope you found it somewhat helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for being here. I'm very excited for the fall. I'm so excited for summer slowdown to be over. Reselling is always fun for fall fashion and during the winter months. I'm wishing everybody a tremendous month in September. Thanks again for watching. Love you guys. Bye.